make a presentation about. It can be a band, it can be a movie, it could be a book, it can be anything in pop culture, okay? Not somebody in the class, but something in pop culture. Even if you don't have anything that you love, if you are truly apathetic about everything, just pick something. So it can be a sports team, it can be anything, okay? And I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to go File, New Presentation, but this, which you have the link to, Luca, question? That what? Okay, that's good, but I'm not sure that it needed to interrupt the class, did it? Okay, please listen and don't talk when I'm talking. Thank you. This is our target. Okay, this is what I want you to try to make. And so 3 slides. We're going to have a title slide. We're going to have an embedded audio, and then we're going to have an embedded video. And as you've seen in the past, this stuff isn't as hard. It looks really complicated, but it's really not. So I'm going to make a presentation about... No, definitely not Pokemon. No, I'm going to pick a band.
Fun facts about
Led Zeppelin. Okay. So, all right. Thank you. So what I meant by, like, you can easily choose a cookie cutter theme is I can go over here and I could actually find, like, some of these actually look really good, I think. And so that was when presentation software was in its infancy. Microsoft PowerPoint was by far the #1 piece of software. Google Slides didn't exist. And their default was a blue background. And so every single presentation looked the same. And that's why it's nice that these themes have come out, because now you guys get your generation is so lucky, you guys get to just click on these and it changes your whole presentation to look really nice. So I want you to keep this in mind, is that you can use these for future presentations that you do in other classes. But what I want to do is teach you how to do your own kind of background. So what I do, I'm going to go look up Led Zeppelin. And if you haven't listened to Led Zeppelin, you should. They're fantastic. And I find, I don't know, let's do, yeah. And actually, if I really want, there's probably tons of Led Zeppelin wallpapers out there. So, ooh, that's a good one. I like that. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to download that picture. So, yeah, I didn't really want Pinterest. Say what now? Yeah, I can. Does anyone know the problem when I do that? Spence? Yeah, you see that? 1920 by 1200. If you save this image, you're going to get probably a lower quality image. Now, okay.
It's only if you save it like in the Google search on the left there. If you save it on the right, when you open it up, no matter what size it actually is in the screen, it'll save in the right quality.
Right here?
Yeah. It should at least.
So I'll save it as Led Zeppelin background, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. And let's see, step and right. So if I right click on it and then go look at the properties, I'm looking for the dimensions of it. Yeah, there you go. So you are right. Thank you. It's 1920 by 1200. So that is a pretty darn high resolution. If you get something lower, like if you get, say, 400 by 300, it's not going to look very good. So the general rule of thumb is if I have a picture that's this big, and I try to make it this big, it's going to look pixelated and bad. But if I have a picture that's this big, and I want to make it this big, it'll be absolutely fine. So you want to have a big image to start with. It's okay to go big to small. It's not okay to go small to big. So once I have that, I can quite easily drag and drop. That was a lie, apparently. There we go. So I can quite easily drag and drop, and then I can resize it. Just be careful though, because again, if you do this, then what you're doing is you're altering the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio refers to how wide something is to how high it is. So if I were to take a picture of me and I were to expand it this way, I would get wider while not taller, and that would suck, and I don't need to get any wider. So that's kind of, you want to make sure that if you do alter the image, you're not going to wreck how it looks. Now actually, this I think looks fine. So sometimes you're able to get away with it, but we want this image to fill the screen. So if I were to have it like this, I would want to take that. Oh, nope. Undo, undo. And I want to fill the screen with it. Yep. Yes, there is. Go ahead. Pardon me? Click on the image. Click off of the image. I'm sorry, you're just going to speak up. Good. Okay. When you put a picture in like this, it's something that you can manipulate and kind of like a sprite in Scratch. So in Scratch, if you put a sprite in the world, you can manipulate it, do collision detection, all that kind of stuff. So that is the way that most people put a picture on, is they drag and drop. But you're exactly right. The best way to do it is to go to background and say, I would like to choose an image. Then you drag it into your upload area. And then you can already see it back there. Okay. And then I think if you go to new slide, will it? No, it won't do. But you can duplicate like so. Okay. So I right away can duplicate 3 of those. Now, anybody see any problem with this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. Like if we go look back and look at our master, you can see here that I have a picture in the background. And you may not have noticed it before, but now that you're kind of seeing what we're doing here, what's the difference between the picture you see in the background there? I mean, other than the fact that, you know, they're different pictures, obviously, but does anyone kind of see what I might be getting at here? Well, yeah. So this one here, it's going to be awfully hard to come up with a font that's going to look good. So where I was going next is to try to wash that out. We did the same thing on our menu. Remember our menu? Okay. And now I'm going to stop because I was thinking about how I was doing these, and I think I would like to challenge you a little bit more. So you've now seen how to do this. I want to see if you can figure out how to wash that out. So whatever you're doing, pick an image. You might want to include the word wallpaper in your search, and then start making your presentation. You'll notice here that I have my washed out image. Now, one way to do it is what kind of we just said. You can take your image that you download and you can put it in, and you can treat it like it is a sprite on the screen. If you have it as an actual object on the screen, then you can go and you can format it by going here and recolor. You can make it a different color over here, and you can choose one like that that's washed out. And you might be thinking, that's cool, I like that. That is one option. You can also do adjustments here in the transparency and the brightness, and that's probably the easiest way. The only thing about this is that a lot of times you don't want this to be a sprite like on the screen. You want it to be a background. And so if you want it to be a background, you'll notice you don't really have a lot of options. All you can do is pick an image. So what I've shown you here is a valid way to do it. It's just now you're going to have to put up with this being on the clickable all the time. and you might be able to lock it, but it's a bit of a pain. The other way to do it is to get used to a photo editing program. So this is called Pixlr. Anyone used it before? Okay. Pixlr is a free online program. I'll go there again so you can see this from scratch. And you don't even have to log in or anything. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And then down here, there's advanced or there's quick and easy. For what I'm doing, quick and easy is just fine. And I downloaded that image, that Led Zeppelin image, and so I put it on my desktop. That's a different one. See, there's the darker one. And all I did, there's tons of options over here. All I did is I clicked these dots. I went to transparency, and I turned it to about 14. So maybe I was too light. You can go there, whatever. Get it to wherever you want, and then save. And then I'm going to save this as background 2, download. And then I just go back here. I'm just going to put in another slide. And I go to the backgrounds, and I just pick it or drag it. It doesn't work from the bar. Yeah, it doesn't. Depends on the browser.
Mac problems.
I guess so. And there you go. You get that kind of washed out effect. So I've got 3 different ones. This is just a different transparency from this one. And then this one here is an actual sprite that you can click on the screen, which is not really what we want. So that's sort of a hack. I don't really care which way you do it. However, I would point out that getting to know these photo editing programs is a good thing, because you use this. I use it in grade 11 for web design. You can use it to make sprites for grade 10 games. Pixlr is something I do quite a bit of, and I don't know it super well, but it does really, really easy things very quickly for you. And there are also tools you can use probably on your PC and on my Mac. There's lots of ways to change the transparency of an image, but that's just a quick one right there. So what I would like is 3 slides, and they can either be, I have 3 different ones here. You don't have to have that. You can just have the same one, but try to get a washed out image, 3 slides. Go. I said you can have 3 different. You don't have to have 3 different. I was just doing examples, and these all work, so I'm going to leave them. But your images in the background, it's up to you to decide if they're good enough in terms of readability. That's really what you're after. Okay, so if you can put text on top of your image and read it, then everything's fine. If not, you may have to go back and wash it out a little bit more or make little adjustments. Okay, but this one here, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to put black text on that and everything will work out. So I'm going to type, I'm going to insert a text box is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to type Led Zeppelin. And then I can either hit enter and put some more text down here, or if I wanted to, I could treat it as another text box and put another one there, but I'm going to do it all at once, and I'll just put, I don't know, I need a subtitle, the best band of all time. Sure. Now, keeping in mind, this is my goal. What do I need to do now? How can I make what I have here look sort of more like what I see there? Yep. Add a border? All right. Sure, we'll start with the hard one. So adding a border, I look up here and I see some border weight, border dash. So I'm going to choose a border weight that's thicker. Maybe too thick. No, that's too thick. 8's good. And then I'm going to pick a color that suits what I got. I have some red in mind, so I'm going to pick red as my color. There we go. And then I could, and I don't think it looks good, but I could do a dot like that, which I think looks silly. But there are those options available. So there we go. I have that, so that's a good start. Now what? What else can I do? And by the way, I said you could keep your monitors on. You're welcome to follow along with this. Just please make sure you pay attention too. But if you want to type and do this as we go. That's fine. Yeah. Font. So yeah, let's pick a better font because Arial, Arial is really nice for your essays and stuff like that. But for a presentation, I think we want to try to get a little more creative with our font. So I'm going to try to pick something that suits a rock band. I don't know.
Lobster.
Lobster?
Yeah, lobster.
Sure. Sure. And I want the Led Zeppelin to be bigger. So again, just keep watching, but I'm going to highlight just the Led Zeppelin part. And I can click like that. I could type in a number if I want, but I can just click and hold or whatever until I get it the size that I'd like it. So that's about good. And then the same for this one. And again, I can type in a number if I want. I can type I want a font of 24 and it'll go to 24 and that might be good enough. Okay? What else do you see? What else do you see? Malcolm?
The drop shadow.
Yeah, the drop shadow. How do I do a drop shadow? Does anyone figure that out? Keep going. That's okay. So, general rule of thumb. Yep, and that's what I was going to say. If you don't remember how to do something, or if you're trying to figure out, a good rule of thumb is to right-click on it, and then just take a look at what you got. And down low, there's a Format Options, and a lot of the stuff we're doing can be found in there. So there's the drop shadow. And then I can play around with the effects, like the distance, see? And be careful, you don't want to get silly in here and do something like that. It looks silly. But you can play with the distance, and you can play with the angle, and you can get it however you like it. And again, I'm not marking this, but you want it to be somewhat, and you can blur it so that right now the drop shadow almost looks like it's text, but if I blur it, I get that kind of thing. And again, I don't want to go too far because then I kind of lose the shadow entirely. So you can play around with these sliders and just get it to where you want it. You can change the angle to be all over the place. I think I like this one. Nope. Nope. Yep. Yeah. It's coming. There you go. So you mess around with it till you get it where you want. And then anything else that you notice? You're missing one major thing. Spencer?
In the Foo Fighters one, it's the text is centered.
Yeah. Yep. So I highlight and then up here. There we go. Centered. Okay. And that is is that right in the middle of the screen? Is that perfect? How do I know if it's perfect? Does anybody know how to do that? Braden? Yeah, so slides will help me with alignment by, you can see right there is perfect horizontal. And if I try to go down a little bit, oh, there it is. Look, yeah, there it is. That right there is perfect. Okay? So you want it to be centered right in the middle of the page. And that looks pretty good. Okay? So take another 2 minutes. Try to get that looking perfect. And as you go through this, look over here. And you'll see I've clicked on the border. And over here you see text fitting. And I don't love the text being right up against the border. So you can change your paddings to like 0.4 instead of 0.1. And then you get this kind of thing, which personally I like better. But just the more you look at the format options, the more stuff you'll go, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And that's really, and reflection's kind of neat too. I didn't ask for it, but you can do a reflection and you can change the size of your reflection and stuff like that. It doesn't really look good here, but reflection can look good in some cases. While I have your attention, monitor's off because this one's a big one. Now, this one is somewhat unfortunate for you because these computers are not equipped with microphones. So, what I have to ask you to do here is use your phones. Now, most of you have a phone. If you don't have a phone, it's not the end of the world. We can either use a microphone. We do have a couple of microphones you can plug in, but you can also maybe convince your friend to do a little recording and then and then, you know, save it that way. So what you're about to do is you're going to narrate a slide. So I'm going to go online. I'm going to look for another Led Zeppelin picture. Let's say I was doing a little slide on their lead singer. Anyone know the lead singer of Led Zeppelin? Oh, this is a good way to make bonus points. What did you say? It's this guy, Robert Plant. He looks really old now because he is really old now. Where's the? That's a little better. All right, so I get a picture, and then here I'm going to insert that picture by. Yeah, I see that. I see that. I see that. Cancel.
No, it's not what it is.
I'll just get another. Or I can also cheat by doing this. I can take a screenshot and then paste. So that is a bit of a hack. You can take a screenshot. So I'm going to put this picture in the middle of my page, but maybe down a little lower. And then I'm going to insert a title. So I'll go text box and just Robert Plant. And my text box is way too big, so I'll make it a little smaller. Get it centered above. Get it centered as text. And then I can also use the headings, I think. Oh, no, maybe I can't. I'll make it bold, make it bigger, make it a title, all that good stuff. But what I really want to show you here is how to narrate. So, good enough for now. If you look up here, it says Insert Audio. Now, it would be really nice if you could record right here, but unfortunately, it doesn't allow for that to happen. Does anybody know what you have to do? Yeah? Right, you do. You have to record your voice separately, okay, and then you put it in your Google Drive, and then you import it. So there are a few steps. So I'm going to get ready for this by going and getting to my Google Drive. And that way I'm ready. And I might even, you know, you should have it. I don't have a THA folder anymore. I cleaned up a little bit. Well, actually I do, but it's in my courses. So current, that's you. So I'll put it in here. For me, anyone know how I'm going to record? How do you record your voice? Without a phone. Yep. There are so many options, so I don't know what to tell you. There's no one thing I want you to do here. It's going to totally depend on what device you're using, if you're in front of a computer. But if I were to go to QuickTime, QuickTime is a piece of software on a Mac that I can use. It also works for Windows. Your phone, obviously, you have the voice recordings. There's lots and lots of different ways, yeah? Voice memos, yep. If I type in online voice recorder, then you see right here, I can just immediately, you just go to a site, it says, all right, do it. So, here we go. Quiet, please. I'm just going to make stuff up. Robert Plant is the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was a great band in the 60s and 70s, and unfortunately, they had to stop in the early 80s when their drummer overdosed after a concert in Chicago. I think that's true. Save, and boom, there it is right there. Now, I go to the downloads area, and here is where I should go, Zeppelin recording. And now all I do is I go to my Google Drive where I'm ready to go, and I just drag and drop. So drag and drop. And there we go, upload complete. Now, when you do the slides, what should happen now is if you go Insert Audio, it should do an automatic scan of all of the latest things you've done. So here you can see these are some MP3s we made for academic awards, and that is the most recent one I've done, and it automatically pops up. I click it, select, and then you see this icon right here. And I move the icon up here. It's something I don't want to show when the presentation is actually going. So I want to be able to hide it when presenting. And I clicked on Start Playing when you automatically. So now when I go to the slide, if everything worked properly, you should hear my voice as soon as we go to this slide. So let's give it a shot.
Robert Plant is
Ah!
No, keep it playing.
Well, it worked.
Keep it playing.
Now, in the past, okay. So this is a very good way to impress your teachers, because a lot of teachers don't realize that this is really easy. Just don't tell them that, and they think you're a creative genius. And it saves you a lot of work. For those of you who don't like to type up your slides and everything, you can actually just put in a recording of you. And in grade 11, I actually have my students doing independent study presentations. And for the students who don't want to get up in front of the class, they can pre-record everything and just hand it in, and we watch it like it's a show. So a lot of benefits to this. I really like this feature. The only thing you have to be aware of is if you were to hand this in to me, unless you share this file, the recording won't work. So when you record your MP3, your audio, the first thing you got to remember to do is share with me, or just make sure it goes into your because hopefully you've shared your TEJ folder with me in general. As long as it's there, everything should be just fine. Okay? Now, it's 2:30, and that means I'm not sure that we have time to do this. This is definitely something, though, that's probably better done at home, because you're going to want to record when there's no background noise. Okay? And I've recorded all of this, so you have good instruction. Hopefully this was good instruction on how to get this done. The last thing you need to do is really not that bad. This is just a video embedded onto the page. Much, much easier than the audio. So all I do for this, I go to my third slide, and I go, question? Video. And then you can actually search right. Actually, this one I found didn't work that well, I don't think, unless they've changed it. Let me try this. I find the same. I find the results in here aren't great. So you can go into a browser and do a normal search and then type the URL. Or if I get one I like there's a song, so boom, and it goes right in. So that's it. So to finish up this assignment, all you need to do is, do your audio, do your video, and then just kind of place some nice titles and fonts, and that's about it. Okay? All right.